Welcome to Ask Finn, everyone. By the time that you guys hear this, it will be Thursday morning. Number one, I am on a 2-week spring break from my work, and as you know, I'm in education. And I'm also, they somehow put me on a month and a half long sabbatical of all things from work, so I don't have to go back to work until May, believe it or not. And so I'll be concentrating more on my schoolwork and equal amount to this podcast as well. But enough of me rambling. I have Dr. Shelley with me, and I'm going to let Dr. Shelley take it away.
Well, good morning, everybody, and good morning, Wynn. It's actually just an amazing honor to be here with you today.
Well, it's an amazing honor to have you. So, Dr. Shelley, what do you do? And I know what you do, of course, but my fan base does not.
Well, I am a licensed psychologist in the state of Minnesota. I am also an author and a metaphysical practitioner. I have worked for 20 years, almost 20 years, about 17, 18 years in the state and federal prison systems, and I'm currently employed writing forensic evaluations for releasing inmates from the Minnesota prison system. My impactful and joyful position is being a change catalyst through authoring my books, giving inspired lectures, facilitating workshops, and through individual and group sessions. I do possess the ability to read people's energy and align with them to affect personal change. So using this, I also specialize in addressing loss experiences and trauma events and in assisting people to process the event, moving the energy, and in creating a future without the anxiety and depression that is often subsequent to such experiences. So in short, on the metaphysical side, I help people awaken to the soul self so they can awaken and live an enlightened life.
So basically, you help people, not only prisoners, but really help people get involved with their physical well-being and their physical selves.
Yes. Yep, trying to help them get in touch with what's really impacting their life at a level that's just deeper than the physical, mental, or emotional state, getting to things at a soul level so they can actually resolve the feelings around it, the emotion connected to it, the energy connected to it, and then moving that energy so they can actually live the best quality life they can have.
So you basically give people a second chance. Like, literally, I mean, you're working in a prison system. You're working with people who are down on their luck. Literally, geez.
I've absolutely loved working in prisons. I have learned so much about humanity and about myself. Right now, I'm actually not based in an actual physical facility since I write reports. I'm in an office area. But when I worked for about 15 years directly with inmates, it's an eye-opening experience. It's a humbling experience, and it's a very human experience. I learned about myself every day interacting with people that have had not the best, hand of cards in life.
I bet you did. I was given the honor, well, not necessarily the honor, but through my high school, this is not through my elementary school, through my high school, we have a program called experiential education. And when I was in 10th grade, I was given the honor to go inside the Colorado, one of the Colorado prison systems. My God, that was an eye-opening experience for a young woman with CT. And one of the things we actually got to see was a cannibal. Cannibal, I repeat, the word cannibal. And for those of you who don't know what a cannibal is, he's a person that actually ate a person, believe it or not. And yeah, he just was down on his luck. So these outsiders looking in need to have compassion for prisoners because they're down on the luck. And that's what Shelley is trying to do today, and Shelley's always been trying to do. Now, what made you go into this field of writing the prison reports and doing all this stuff that you do, Shelley? Was it more of you were in corporate America and wanted a change, or was it, what was it?
To this day, I'm really not quite sure. I really pushed hard to do my pre-doctoral internship at the Minnesota Sex Offender Program. It is a civil commitment program for sexual predators. So after they complete their prison time, they're actually civilly committed into a state hospital type system, but it's still secure setting like a prison. I think it wasn't even a curiosity. It was I wanted a challenging job. I wanted a job that used my skills and my intellect and my education, and I wanted a job that would help make a big difference and an impact, and that was definitely it.
Oh, God. So let's talk about your books for a moment on a happier note. Why did you decide to write your books, and why did you decide to get your story out there?
Well, the books are metaphysically based and not so much about my work. It's not about working in prisons or with predatory offenders. It's more of a blend of psychology and metaphysical, spiritual work. A lot of people have a difficult time looking at things from a perspective of, do I have a soul? What's my soul's purpose? I think that's one of the age-old questions is, what is my purpose here? What am I doing here? And for years, I have attended different workshops and studied with some of the very well-known individuals in spirituality. And everyone talks about, that we come here to learn how to love, that, we need to come to earth that as a school, we incarnate into a human body to learn how to love and to have these experiences and these lessons through our exchanges with one another and through living, being, that teach us how to love. But that's not my perspective. I had a very profound past life regression where I went back to source, and my understanding after that experience was that we are love. My soul is love. It's created from love. My purpose here is to live from the love that I am, to awaken to the fact that I am love, and then to live it in everything that I do. It's not about I need to learn how to love. I am love. My experience is to awaken to it and then to be it.
Well, you guys don't know this, but I had a conversation with a higher power a couple of weeks ago, and this higher power said to me, you need to go into your day job, and tell them that you want to be in the communications aspect of your day job. No more teaching. You can't do it. Your body can't do it. Your back can't do it. No more teaching. So I think when we have these higher power conversations and figure out where we stand in life, it's really amazing.
Absolutely. If we can learn to still the human mind, which, your soul is, my belief is that the soul is in the body driving this electronic, energy system, and the soul has to learn to adapt to the physical body, just like it has to learn how to drive the brain and the actions and the behaviors. And if we can get out of that monkey mind that's constantly talking, constantly chattering, and sit in a quiet space and listen to our soul, like you said, you can have those conversations and those aha moments and the awarenesses of what's really best for us. Your soul won't lead you down a dark path. It won't lead you to a place that's going to be harmful for you. So if your soul is saying, really, teaching is difficult for you physically, it's draining, it's hard on your health, you got to listen to that little nudge from your soul, because it knows what's best for you.
Yeah. And I taught preschool for 11 years, retired from that, thank you very much, got my health back into shape, and got my physical health back into shape, and my mental health back into shape. You guys didn't know I was having mental stability problems back then. I taught preschool for 11 years and got my physical health back into shape, and then got my mental health back into shape. Now I'm going to get my public speaking health back into shape here, because you don't get to do it in the classroom. You get to do a lot of making do. And for those, I know my colleagues listen to this podcast, so I'm going to put this gently, but making do day in, day out is like repetition reinforcement. And you make the projects, do it with the kids. You make the projects, do it with the kids. And I don't feel like I'm speaking on behalf of my work as well as I could be, because I'm stuck in the make and do process, and we speak about CP, but rarely do we speak about CP. I mean, the kids ask the intelligent questions, but they have never asked me what CP actually is. Maybe when we go back in May, and maybe when I go back in May, they'll finally ask me what CP actually is. But I felt like when I had that conversation with my soul, I felt, okay, this is what I'm going to tell my boss, and see if they can scope the job for me. And if worse comes to worse, I'll go back to education. But you guys know I'm not going to squawk about this enough, that teachers don't get paid very much, and we should get paid. So I would say that Shelley's work is beautiful work. I would say that Shelley's work needs to be heard loud and clear, even outside the prison system. And so, Shelley, where can people find your book? And then I'll ask you, what's your favorite book?
Well, my first solo book I've done, I've authored in compilation books under a pseudonym, and this is my first solo book. So right now it's with my wonderful, amazing editor, and I'm hoping to get it out by the end of May. I will be selling it through Amazon, BookBaby, in ebook, hard copy. It will also be on Barnes & Noble, Smashwords, or through my website, which is www.livefromlove.com. And anywhere else you can find an ebook, I guess.
Yeah. So go support Shelley's book, you guys, even though it will come out in May. And then my book is actually getting ready to get redone. I already had it edited once, but it needs a little bit of help. So I've hired another editor to reconstruct it. And so my book is going to be ready to get agented by a big publisher. So I hope I have to do the work on the query at the end. But as soon as I get my act together here, which will be sooner rather than later, I will, of course, pay my editor, because editors are not cheap, as Shelley knows. And then I will start reconstructing this book the best I can, and then we'll see what happens to my book as well as when it gets agented. So I wanted to give you the process on that. But self-publishing is a heck of a lot easier. And Shelley, why did you decide to go self-publish?
Well, I've checked both, and I've traditionally published and in the other works that were compilation works. What I prefer to do is to keep creative control of my works. The first book coming out is it's a labor of love. As you know, writing a book is like birthing a child sometimes. It's called Love is Unconditional, The Power of Your Truth. And it's called The Power of Your Truth because when you can awaken to the alignment with your soul, or at least be open-minded enough to allow yourself to explore that concept, it just changes the way you view absolutely everything in the world around you, including yourself, your relationships, what your purpose is here. And I wanted to maintain creative control over my works right down to the book covers. And when you traditionally publish, oftentimes you sign a contract, and what that means is most of your creative license is taken from you. They can edit what they want. They have other people that basically go in and oftentimes pretty much rewrite what you even wrote. The book cover isn't resonating with you energetically because they've chosen something that maybe you wouldn't have chosen if you had creative license. And, you know, like yourself, having published before, when you've given up creative license to your hard work, it's very difficult to watch people change it and make it something that you don't necessarily get on board with.
Well, let's hope that whoever chooses me as their new client, let's hope my agent is in the court of diversity, you guys. Let's hope that the agent, one, doesn't want to throw me in the trash can, which agents have done to me before. Two, I just hope my agent not necessarily understands cerebral palsy, but understands diversity, understands unique voices. I don't care if they understand cerebral palsy. Cerebral palsy is just a side note of my life. I'm just using my books as a catalyst to share my story with cerebral palsy. So I hope my agent decides to pick me up and takes a hard look at my query letter and doesn't decide to throw me in the trash can, because 9 times out of 10 agents do that. But I am super impressed that Shelley decided to self-publish. Self-publishing is a whole different animal than traditionally published. And I'm going to ask Shelley, what is her favorite book?
Oh, boy. I have many that I love. It's a great question. I have read extensively on so many amazing scientists and spiritual leaders. Man, to choose just one. I'm a total bookworm. If I had to select absolutely one that I could read over and over for the rest of my physical beingness, I would have to say it would be The Art of Happiness by the Dalai Lama. There's nothing better than a truly inspirational book that inspires you at a level beyond the intellectual mind, and that you find, every time I read this book, I get something new out of it. I think I'm awakened in different ways and at a different place within myself to receive different messages every time I read the book. It's like a never-ending story for me. I just love it.
So you would say books by the Dalai Lama. And that leads into my next question. If you had to be educated by anyone inside or outside your field, who would it be and why?
Well, I have a bucket list of individuals, believe it or not. I think a lot of people in my field do it. There's just, it's this list of I want to train with this person, I want to study with this person, I want to read all of this person's books. I think right now I'm at a place where I really want to deepen my understanding of things at a level far beyond the human condition. And it's a toss-up between Nikola Tesla and Stephen Hawking. And I know we just lost Mr. Hawking this past week, which is very sad.
We did.
At some point I could.
We did.
I was hoping, at some point to
that
get over
made
there
me
somewhere.
sad, Billy. That
know.
made me sad too, because he was a great mind despite his ALS, and talked about a huge advocate for the disabled, and that just made me sad. That just made me sad when I woke up and got the notification, and yeah. So, so Stephen Hawking is now crossed off your bucket list, but I think Stephen Hawking has books that he's written. I'm not sure about that. Don't quote me on that, people. But look on Amazon, you guys, and see if Stephen Hawking has books that he's written. I know he did several speeches. I know he did several things in the UK, and so I know he just did his darndest to get his book out there, even when he couldn't speak. He spoke with his eyes, really. There's a movie out that I watched at Christmas time about him, and I can't remember the name of it right now, but just Google Stephen Hawking. You'll find movies, you'll find books that he probably authored or co-authored, and so just Google Stephen Hawking and you'll find more information. And of course, you'll find more information about ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease. But Shelley's second person just put a rocket into space, and Nikola Tesla put a rocket into space, which I think is very cool. So what would you ask either Stephen Hawking or Nikola Tesla?
Well, Nikola Tesla has passed. He was, I think he passed away in the 40s, if I'm not correctly. I think you're thinking of Mr. Elon Musk that put a rocket up. But he's crazy, amazing.
Oh.
He's crazy, amazing, too.
Yeah, I am.
I think with Mr. Tesla, oh boy. Well, he was an inventor. He was an engineer, an electrical and mechanical engineer. He was a physicist. But I think the most interesting things to me are his perspective of the universe, how we exist in the universe, the energy exchange of the human in the body, in the universe. That is just huge for me. And that kind of goes back to back with Mr. Hawking's work because, like you said, Mr. Hawking has been authoring books since, oh my gosh, the early 90s. And, people usually that are in the science field tend to one end of the spectrum or another. There's the Big Bang or it's the string theory, not both. And it's just, some of his work is so amazing just to try and grasp on an intellectual level how everything came into being. It tends to evoke a very emotional response in the human, but a response is good. If we're responding to something emotionally, that gives rise to, well, what do we think about that? Does that align with my energy? Do I believe in that theory? How does that fit if that were my truth? What is that? What about that is not my truth? What doesn't fit well with me? It's all about riding that energy wave and learning what fits, what doesn't fit for us, and taking away our own truth from it. We'll all find our way. It's just how we get there.
Yes, we will. And I know, Shelley, that you have a couple of questions for me. So now I'm going to let you ask me the couple questions that you have, and then I'm going to let you say where everyone can find you.
Well, I have a lot of questions for you, but I'll narrow it down. Well, like Mr. Hawking, he was afflicted for many, many years with ALS, and like having cerebral palsy, a lot of people with ALS don't live 50 plus years after a diagnosis, such as Mr. Hawking did. And he made such an impact, not just with his amazing scientific mind, but by being an ambassador for persons with ALS in a roundabout way. And I'm wondering what challenges you face as an ambassador for persons with cerebral palsy. Hello?
The host has joined the conference.
Shelley, I'm actually going to make you start over again with the questions you wanted to ask me because my big fat finger got in the way.
Oh, that's okay. I wondered where you went. I'm like, oh no, she's
So
not there.
my big fat finger got in the way. So I'm going to start this recording over again, and then I am going to let you ask me the questions.
Okay.